The way you're breathing is making you sick, broke, and unhappy. You might be thinking this guy is absolutely nuts, but I promise you, your breath is controlling your results. Now, most people are out there focusing on new strategies, biohacking, adverts, all of these different strategies to try and improve their outside world, when ultimately it is your breathing that is controlling your results in life. Now think about it, right? Your nervous system, your spine and your brain is controlling the way that you think and the way that you feel. Now, the way that you think, the way you feel, and your belief systems, okay, the way you believe, what you believe about yourself, your self-image, controls how you think. How you think controls how you feel controls how you act, and how you act controls your results, okay? Most people are here trying to change their actions, okay, but never get into the root cause, yeah? The way they think, the way they feel, and their belief systems, okay? Now, these belief systems, the way you think, the way you feel, that's all stored on a subconscious cellular level, okay? And it is your breathing which is the remote control to your nervous system, okay? The nervous system controls how you think and how you feel, and that's where all of your old subconscious beliefs are stored, okay? Which is controlling all of those results, right? So, your breath is the key to changing your results in life, okay? If you're sick, if you're broke, if you're unhappy, right, come back to the way that you're breathing, all right? Now, if you notice throughout the day how you're breathing, most people are breathing short, sharp, and shallow, and it's through the mouth, okay? And by doing this, you are signaling to your nervous system, right, to switch on to fight or flight, okay? Fight or flight response is either flight, run away from the danger, or fight the danger that's ahead of you, okay? Now, this nervous system of yours is designed to keep you alive, okay? That's its only job, is to keep you alive, all right? So it will see the outside world through your 5 physical senses. It will notice danger. That will hit your brain. It will go down your spine. It will tell your nerves to either switch on fight or flight, get all of the adrenaline, cortisol running through your bloodstream, okay? Your pupils dilate, your heart starts beating faster, your breath starts to go short, sharp, and shallow to get more oxygen in, to get more blood flow, right? To run or fight off the danger, okay? Now, in doing so, what that is doing is it's creating this thinking feeling loop, okay? You're feeling stressed, you're feeling anxious, you're feeling worried, which creates chemicals within your body, which is then going to make you act a certain way, okay? If you're feeling stressed, anxious, worried, fearful, you're worried about how to pay the bills, you're worried about this, etc., 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 then you're going to act in accordance with how you feel, okay? If I feel angry, then the next sales call I go into, I'm going to act in that way, okay? And that other person is going to feel it, okay? And they're not going to buy from me. All right. Now, the mad thing about your nervous system and your brain and your body is it cannot tell the difference between real and imagined. All right. So if you're vividly imagining something, sitting there thinking about the argument you've got to have with someone, you will create the same chemicals within your body. All right. And then all of a sudden you'll be sitting there on your sofa and you'll start breathing short, sharp, shallow. Your jaw will tense. You'll be ready for a fight, all because you was imagining that danger. Okay. Now, the reverse happens when we breathe nice and deeply. When we go into rest and digest mode, back to homeostasis, the danger in the outside world has gone. The 5 physical senses realize there's no danger in the outside world, and we start to slow our breath down, okay? The breath goes in and out through the nose, and it slows down. It switches on the parasympathetic nervous system. And when we're in that mode, this is relaxation, this is creation mode, okay? This is where we get access to the automatic success mechanism, all right? This is where the subconscious connects, okay? The brainwaves slow down from high beta into alpha into theta. We get access to our subconscious, the infinite intelligence, the quantum field, universal field, whatever you want to call it, but all the answers to everything we need are, okay? And remember the formula, the way we think, the way we feel is going to control how we act, and our action is going to control our results, okay? So our breathing, therefore, is the remote control to our nervous system. So if we're feeling anxious, if we're feeling worried, if we're feeling sick, then we just have to notice how we're breathing, okay? Because if we're breathing nice and deeply through the nose, okay, using the full part of the breath, the 3 parts, the belly, the mid-chest, the upper, then that will slow everything down. Now, if you need a training on this, just comment breath and I'll send you over the free training on the fundamentals of how to breathe properly, okay? But your breath is controlling literally everything, okay? If you're sick, right? If you've got some sort of illness, yeah, start to notice how you're breathing, Okay, now there's a doctor, Dr. Otto Warburg in 1942, who won a Nobel Prize for his research on cancer. And what he discovered is that cancer cannot flourish in a highly oxidated state. So essentially, cancer only grows in an environment where there's a lack of oxygen and it's acidic, okay, when you're not breathing correctly. Okay? And when you're stressed and worried, anxious, doubtful, all you're doing is breathing short, sharp, and shallow. You've created images in your mind of the worst case scenario. I'm going to go broke. This is going to happen, blah, 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 blah. Then that signals to your brain and your nervous system, create chemicals to be in fight or flight. And then you're like that 24/7, 365. Okay? And over a long enough period of time, it will create dis-ease. It's in the name, guys. Body not at ease. Dis, not ease, okay, being at ease. So disease is just a body not at ease, right? And the breath is coming back to that. So if you've got some sort of illness or disease or an autoimmune disease, right, have a look at the way that you're breathing, okay? When we start to fill the lungs up fully, we start to massage different parts of our diaphragm. When we're breathing through the belly, through the ribs, through the top part of the ribs, we are literally massaging the internal organs, okay? You've got the organs in the stomach, the sexual organs, the sexual glands, you've got the kidneys, liver, you've got the heart, the thymus gland responsible for white blood cell creation. This is just through breathing and massaging, through expanding and contracting the diaphragm, okay? Not only that, breathing through your nose as well, okay? There's this thing called prana, life force energy, okay? The Chinese called it qi, all right? It is literally life force energy that keeps everything around us going. And when we breathe in through the nose, we actually signal, or we actually bring all that oxygen, that life force energy to the center of the brain. We alter our blood-brain-body chemistry and we start to feel calmer. We start to feel more relaxed. We will start to feel more happy, joyful, euphoric, excited, okay? And that's all because there's a bunch of olfactory bulb responsible for smell, nerve cells, about 50,000 of them just here. And as you breathe deeply, all of that oxygen, that life force energy goes to the center of your brain. That makes you feel more calm, more relaxed. Your brain waves slow down from beta, stressed out, worried, fearful, anxious, into alpha, into theta, okay, the subconscious mind. And when we're in the subconscious mind, this is where we get access to intuition, willpower, memory, perception, imagination, right? All these higher faculties of your mind that you can use as the consciousness, the one who observes all of this, to create and change your reality, all right? And it's the same with being broken, unhappy, right? If you're broken, unhappy, and you're sick, start to notice the actions that you're taking, right? The actions that you're taking are stemming from the way that you're breathing and the way that your nervous system is, okay? So if I'm gonna go into my next call, I've had something happen to me, right? And remember, we can't control anything but our internal state, all right? Everything outside of us is outside of our control, as the Stoics would say. The only thing that you can control is your thoughts, your feelings, your actions, and your reactions. Okay? So if something terrible happens to you in your outside world, someone cuts you up before you go to work, all right? Someone says no to you in a deal, and then you bring that energy, you're angry, you're stressed, you're pissed off, you're annoyed, you bring that into your next call, all right? How do you think your prospective client is going to react to you, right? If you're angry, I can't believe that fucking guy did this, yeah? Or my missus is such a cunt, or any of these things, right? Then you're going to go and talk to that person exactly the same feeling and emotional state that you're in right now, right? And they're going to feel that, okay? And you've noticed this in your own life, right? Where you've come in days where you're hungover, you're going to come down, bad things have happened, you've gone to have a client call and you didn't get it, right? But the opposite days, when you have everything's going well for you, things are just flowing, yeah, you get that call, you get that sale because everything just seems to flow, right? And this is, and what is happening on those days? Well, you're calm, you're relaxed, you're breathing nice and relaxed, yeah? You're shifting your internal state to be feeling better, okay? And this is what we spoke about in the how to master your emotional and mental state, okay? Everything is energy, frequency, and vibration, okay? And that includes the way you think and the way that you feel. And if you're feeling negative, well, life is a mirror, okay? Law of attraction, like attracts like. If you're feeling like shit, that is exactly how you're going to act, and you're going to get the results that are in accordance with how you're acting, okay? So the whole goal here is to shift your internal state on command, feel good naturally, okay? Not without drugs, not without alcohol, okay? Feel good naturally, because when we feel good, we're going to take better actions and we're going to get better results, okay? And the breath is the remote control to your nervous system. So whenever you're feeling anxious, whenever you're feeling sick, whenever anything's not going the way that you want it to go, start to notice how you're breathing. Okay, come back to the 3 parts of the breath, which is in the training. Comment breath and I'll send that over to you. And you just breathe deeply, belly, mid, chest, upper. Through the nose, exhale through the nose. About 7 seconds in, 7 seconds out, all right? And you can do this anywhere. You can be in traffic. You can be at the post office, right? You can be having a chat with your missus, yeah? And breathe nice and deeply, yeah? Instead of reacting straight away, getting angry, losing your cool, all right? You breathe deeply and you give yourself that space in between stimulus and response, all right? You can do this with cravings, drugs, alcohol, junk foods, negative thinking, worry, doubt, okay? Breathe deeper. The second we learn to control our breath is how we control our nervous system, right? And this is why they teach all athletes, yeah? Military, athletes, swimmers, divers, yeah? All of these people are taught how to control their breath, okay? Because the breath is the control to their nervous system. And if they're in fight or flight, if they're angry, worried, right? If you see a boxer, okay, and if he's in there and he's boxing angrily, yeah, he's so easy to defeat because his emotions are there now, all right? So this is all what it's about, is controlling your breath, controlling your nervous system, controlling how you think, how you feel, ultimately controls how you act and controls your results, all right? So you don't need to be focusing on the results, on the outside world, or even your actions. Start getting to the root cause of it, all right? Your belief systems, the way you think, the way you feel, okay? Your nervous system state, your subconscious programming, retrain those things, okay? Learn to regulate it on command, shift your internal state, and I promise you your outside world will change to match how you're thinking and feeling, okay? But your job only is to focus on yourself, control how you feel, all right? And then your outside world, your results are going to improve. You'll make more money, you'll feel happier, okay? Your illnesses, your diseases, all that sort of stuff will just disappear, okay? Because you are now feeling in a new state of being, all right? So I hope this helps, guys. If you want to go deeper into the internal control system, I'll link that below, okay? That's the program that we take all the high-performing men through to take control fully of their internal state and eliminate the self-sabotage so they can feel calm and in control again, so they can create more time, energy, income, and freedom in their life. So if that sounds like you guys, I'll leave the link in the description below, okay? Check it out, and I will see you guys in the next video.